this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Still quite early in the day, so quiet voice. Did you miss me? Did you? Yeah, sure you did. Sunday chat on a Monday, not really an orchid subject, more a life and things sort of thing. I'll show you something that I will do as a separate video. We've got unboxing or unwrapping to do. As I say, I'll do those as a separate video. They're all dendrobiums and they've come from Marius, from the National Orchid collection, that were duplicates, and I chose a few since I helped load the flipping lot in the car and sort them all out. This is a few that have come back to me. There's an amabile in there, a Frosty Dawn, that's a replacement because I lost mine. Moniliform, Tetragonum, and something else forgotten. Anyway, I will do that as a separate video. That'll probably be for tomorrow. Mum news is, well, really there isn't any. My other sister and brother-in-law had a serious chat with the doctors, and they've said they've entered end-of-life care, and we have a day or two or three. Possibly a little more, but very little. Basically her kidneys have totally failed, so there's nothing else they can do. So the end is near. It was inevitable. Well, in my opinion it was. It's just a matter of when, not if. So I got a whole life change now. Spent quite a lot of time talking with Hannah, and we have a change of plan. I was hoping that once this property's sold and everything and I get my share, well, that's providing the will hasn't changed, nobody's seen it for a while, could have all been left to the cat's home, which I don't care what Mum decided to do with her estate as such, as long as it's written down properly and it doesn't cause any family rows. But the theory is it's split between the four of us, the four siblings, and I was going to use my share to buy a property, but because it's not a huge amount, because, you know, I mean, the property's worth quite a bit, but I only get a quarter share of it, which, you know, it doesn't work. I was thinking of moving to Wales so that I could buy and own my own property again, like I used to. And we discussed it all through, and Hannah basically said, what are the things you enjoy most about being here? And I said, well, obviously having something to walk out into out of the back door. So I just wouldn't be happy in an apartment or flat or anything unless it had a door that opened into somewhere to just walk around in fresh air, sort of thing. She said, yeah, and I said, obviously my orchids, and the fact that they're in a conservatory. And I thought, actually, and the social life that I get from the two orchid societies. You know, there's something going on twice a month. And with committee meetings, sometimes there's more. And if that was gone, because it was just too far to go, what the hell would I do? For a sort of social life. You move to an area where you don't know anyone. I mean, by nature, I'm quite insular. I'm quite happy being in my place with my orchids and my cats. So we twisted it round and said, well, if you don't buy a place with the money, why don't you use it to top up the amount you would need on a monthly basis to rent somewhere nice in the area so that you can still get to the orchid societies and obviously still see my daughter. So we started having a look at a few places, and I said, well, it's, you know, if I don't have a conservatory sort of thing, where the hell am I going to put the orchids? They'll end up in a room, which isn't going to work that well. And I've never liked the idea of having to go to that room to sort of see the orchids. So we had a look round, and, you know, we changed the search criteria to include the word conservatory. That cut it down from about 970 to 5. So not a lot. We looked at one and it was ideal. A reasonable distance away, much closer to Hannah. It's a 20-minute drive to Hannah, but over an hour's drive to the two Orchid societies. That's not a lot for me. I enjoy my driving. That's a pop up the road, an hour. That's nothing. So, you know, so there are places around. They're expensive. But the idea is, you know, I've got my monthly income, and as a result of this decision, it's imperative that I try and keep the YouTube channel, because the income from that becomes necessary rather than just nice to have. You know, it becomes part of the monthly outlay, which is obviously dramatically going to go up. Because, I mean, I live rent-free for here. I've got away with that. Well, I say got away with it. I've been privileged to be like that for a long time now. Sort of got used to it. But suddenly, my monthly expenditure is going to dramatically increase. The idea being, I do have some backup money, so find a place, worry about the move later, and get set up there, sort of thing. And until all this is sorted out, because in this flipping country it takes at least 3 months to sell a place. It's a long way off actually being out of here, if you see what I mean. And it gives me time to get, you know, somewhere sorted, hopefully. And the idea is that, you know, if my outlay is more than my income, then obviously my income needs topping up until such time as the money from this appears, in which case it can be topped up from that. And, you know, we worked it out that I'd have about 25 years worth of topping up the money to be as comfortable as I am now. Am I going to last 25 years? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? We don't worry about that sort of thing. Don't worry about what you can't control. Could get hit by a bus tomorrow, couldn't I? So anyway, we've got an unboxing, unwrapping video to come. That'll be for tomorrow. I've got, you know, problems from now on, in all shapes or forms. But, you know, like I said, it was inevitable, and I've just got to get on with it, basically. I've just got to get on with it. I mean, I'll try and get round to see my sister either today or tomorrow. The weekend itself was very nice. Got Hannah down on Saturday, sort of thing, lunchtime-ish. We had a nice sort of afternoon. We had like I say, we had a look at some properties and a chat about different scenarios and what's possible and what just isn't. I could buy a reasonable property for that money if I went up north, and then I'd never see anyone that I know. Who the hell's going to take a 6-hour drive to say hello? You know, I'd be just cut off completely. So trying to stay in the area seems the far more sensible thing to do. Keeps me in touch with the two Orchid societies, you know, to be able to participate, not just join in once a year or something like that. And that, I think, is quite important. And finding somewhere to house the orchids, even if it's not as good as this, it could be better, but even if it's not quite as good as this, at least it'll allow me to have an orchid collection. There might be a few of the finicky ones that might have to go, and I might have to downsize to enable me to move this lot. Because you have to bear in mind, this is a wooden structure. Modern conservatories are not made of wood. They're either metal or some sort of plastic. And if I didn't own it, I can't go drilling holes in it, can I? So all these wires and things that are hung up and screwed to the wall, that can't happen. So another method, you know, some frames or something to be able to hang them out. So workable, you know, thought, deal with, workable sort of thing. But, you know, I'm desperate to be able to keep. If I don't have the orchid collection, I don't have a YouTube channel. If I don't have a YouTuber channel, I can't afford to do this. That top-up money is now important. So we'll see how we go. I've got the garden party itself. I'll show you a picture. Basically, this is us basking in the blazing sunshine. Ha ha. Right, that was taken in a very heavy rainstorm, and in under those umbrellas actually is our Lynn. It was quite amusing because everybody was sitting down, quite a lot of people had waterproof coats on just in case, and it looked like it was going to brighten up. And then all of a sudden it just went dark and whoosh, all the brollies came out, people rushed to cover things up and all stuff like that. But obviously, you know, with COVID still around and everything, we couldn't all huddle together under the, you know, the awnings, the sort of pergola type things that we'd set up. They were to keep equipment and plants dry, not people. So we got wet, basically. We got very wet. I mean, I got up out of my chair to talk about the coach trip, and when I looked round, my chair had a puddle in it where the seat was. so that didn't get sat in again. But it was so good to see everybody again, for real, and actually chat for real, you know, live, face to face sort of thing. And everywhere you looked, there were big beaming smiles, despite the absolute crap weather. You know, that was not garden party weather. Now, previous years, the forecast for weather like that would have got it cancelled. But, you know, it was deemed more important to prepare for getting wet and go ahead anyway, sort of thing. So we did. We had our picnics and all that sort of stuff. So I think everybody enjoyed it. But as I say, we did get wet. And the sort of paddock and the wooded area where we have this, we sort of ruined it. You know what it's like when ground gets wet and you start walking around in it and doing stuff like that. It turns all muddy, doesn't it? Have you ever been to a rock festival and it's rained? Well, the field ended up a little bit like that, especially the entrance, which is like a gateway. You know, that all the grass had gone, basically. But it went off okay. That was the important thing, and it's our first face-to-face meeting. And then we discussed what we're going to do next, because the hall where we have our meeting, despite the fact it holds 100 people, their risk assessment says we're not allowed to have more than 30. Do they not listen to the government changes to the regulations? Are they not important? You know, you can go and crowd in a nightclub or stand shoulder to shoulder with a load of people at a bar, and yet you can't sit quietly in an Orchid Society meeting. So they're working on it, but it looks like we might have to have half and half, like have a meeting where, how do you select who gets to come? You know, if you can only have 30 people and 40 people would like to attend, who do you choose? Horrible. I don't want to do it. But, you know, the word was sort of put around on the grounds that, you know, if we have to select 30, would some people volunteer to carry on attending the meeting via Zoom? Because although we'll be sat there and like for the people there, the talk and everything will be live, real, we're going to present it on Zoom as well, alongside, so that you can either sit in a chair or you can sit at home with your glass of wine or your cup of tea or whatever and watch it on your big TV or on your screen via Zoom, which is what we've been doing for 18 months. So we may have half and half meetings until this can be resolved. We shall see. I mean, quite honestly, my opinion is that the trustees of the place, the building where we go, they've just got out the risk assessment that they did 6 months ago. They haven't adjusted it or changed it one little bit because they can't be bothered. They've just put out the same one again. You know, so it's crazy. But that's not, strictly speaking, my personal problem, although I am on the committee. I have to have a say and everything. But, so we may get meetings going again for the next... Well, we've only got the end of this month to worry about. And then after that, the next month is our show, so there is no meeting. You know, so we're into October by then, before there's another one to worry about. So we'll see how it goes. And then the other Orchid Society, they've got a garden party in, I think it's 2 weeks' time, something like that. 2 weeks, yeah, in 2 weekends' time. So we've got another, go and sit in the rain with an umbrella up, that'd be fun. And that's again, it's an outside place with an alternative to go into a large hall if it rains and still be able to be separated from being too close together, because obviously if we go inside, that changes the whole aspect of things. If you're outside in a field with a breeze blowing and it's raining, you're not going to transmit. It's not going to happen. Or, unlikely. But as soon as you go inside, the likelihood goes up, even though virtually everybody there was double jabbed. There were a few that weren't. And I finally got the numbers for my coach trip, so that goes ahead. So I've got a coach trip to Burnham's soon. I think that's 3 weeks' time. So there'll be some more Burnham's videos to come. And they're not too, well, I say 3 weeks I think it is. 2 weeks is the garden party, 3 weeks is the coach trip. Yep, something like that. And then a couple of weeks after that is the Devon Orchid Society show, which has got several Orchid Society displays and some traders, and is being hosted at Burnham's. So that's yet another trip to Burnham's, but with other stuff than just what's at Burnham's. So that'll be good, so that's more to come. As far as in here is concerned, there is not one new bloom. Not a light. We've got the Cattleya going over, so that's at it. We've got a Tolumnia up here with 2 spikes. It started with one, but it decided to push another one up out of the same fan. So that's one of the lot that came, my sort of birthday treat from Schwerter, and that's called Tolumnia Bloody Bird. I suspect it's red. But we've got 2 spikes coming on that now out of the same new fan. So that's good. That's coming on. Don't think there's any other Tolumnias bursting forth at the moment. Just that one. I have to keep lowering it all the time because the spikes are getting longer and longer. It'll have to come down from up there soon or it's going to touch the roof. No, I don't think there's any other spikes. Because I haven't been out here sort of attending the orchids, I just came out yesterday with a sprayer and whizzed round quickly. That's when little spikes sneak up on you, when you're not paying attention. I don't think there's anything else. These 3 massive Miltonias up there are all in bud. They will all bloom soon. I'm hoping at least one of those lasts long enough to go in the first show that we'll have. I don't think they're going to be open for the Devon Orchid Society show. I don't know. Well, if it's open for a show it can go, if it's not then it can't, obviously. Hannah couldn't stay out here very long. She can't stand the fragrance of the radiata. She just can't stand it, and it's incredibly strong. So she didn't spend long out here. It was a couple of quick visits followed by a change of air, followed by coming back in again. She couldn't spend too long out here. The little, the Vanda that Hannah got me that had all the trouble with the invisible bugs and therefore got all the spotty damage all over it, that's got a second spike coming. So it's got 2 spikes on it. They're nowhere near opening yet, so there's no point in having a look at that. But my little bulbophyllum, this is the first time I've ever had more than 1 bloom out at the same time. So we've actually got, the first one's going over, so we've actually got 1, 2, 3 open and several more still to come. I mean, I won't be able to show that on the camera today, it's not close up anyway, it's too tiny. But they're very attractive blooms, and that's the first time I've had several together. I mean, I've got 1 spike here that's only just started. So, you know, it's going to be in bloom over a very long period, but not all at once. There's another spike at the top here, tucked under that leaf. There's a few more to come. Another one down the bottom here, lurking. So it's done well. We're blooming on it this time is quite good. Yeah, that's about it as far as the plants are concerned. As I said, I can't get at it, but there's a Brassia right up there, one of the ones that came from Burnham's, along with the Pericosa Sea Breeze. There was another one that I got at the same time, and the spike on that, the blooms are now about 4.5 inches long, so the buds are now about that long. So that probably isn't too far away from opening. I mean, the trouble is it's right up the back in the bright light area on that top shelf. I'll bring it over here, obviously, when it opens. This is nice. The Masdevallia that I got from Mick, the Inca Prince has got spikes. Got 2 more spikes coming. I'm well pleased with that. There are many signs of new roots going down into the pot, as well as what's underground and I can't see. So yeah, we should have 2 more blooms on that soon. And when it arrived from Mick, it was in bloom, and I don't know how long that bloom had been open, so these will be fresh, and they'll last as long as the blooms last on this one. But yeah, it's okay. Now I'm taking a risk because my potted orchids ought to get dealt with today, but I've virtually run out of RO water, so I need the RO water on. That's why the Vanda bucket's got the Renantheras in at the moment. That'll be followed by the Vandas. Then I need to, well, I'll chuck that water on my bonsai outside because it's got some feed in it, and it's not too strong. And then I need to get the RO unit going and get some water. So I've got enough water to do the mounts today, but I haven't got enough to do the pots as well. And if it's a choice between the two, the mounts always win, and the pots can last another day. It doesn't sound like we're going to get much sun today, so I won't have heat in here. Now, last night when I came in here first thing this morning, so I always open the door first thing, it helps change the air, and it releases some of that overnight humidity that can get virtually up to 100% sort of thing. And it was below 18 degrees out here. It's the first time that's happened for a very long time. It was down to 17 point something. So must have been a much cooler night than we've had recently. So yeah, we got Masdevallia buds to come there. That'll be good. And the one that I repotted, changing its media, which is always a little worrying, compacted moss to a different media. There's no signs of wilting or stalling on this one. So it looks like it's going to accept the change of media. I mean, it's obviously a vigorous hybrid anyway, but the new growths are still moving. They haven't stopped. So it is still growing, because that did not have enough roots really for the size of the plant. But loads of new growths, so hopefully a shed load of new roots to come alongside those new growths. As long as it can support itself long enough to do that, it'll remain like this and still be a good plant. Otherwise it's going to start, yellowing leaves and dropping some because it can't support them all. It's got no storage in a Masdevallia. There's no pseudo bulbs or anything, no canes, there's nothing. If the hydration doesn't come up through the roots, then it doesn't get any. But humid air helps compensate for lack of roots quite a lot, but it won't last forever. It'll keep them going for a while, and hopefully that while is long enough to get some roots going. Yeah, I think that's about it with the plants. The zygo cluster, because I've got three zygos now, and 2 relatives. I've got the Pabstia, and I've also got that Vasa vixella, or whatever it's flipping called. So there's like 3, although one of those zygos is actually a cross with something else, so it's not a pure zygo. 2 actual zygos, 1 zygo cross, the Pabstia and the Vasa vixella thing that I was given, so that they're all related. They all seem to be doing okay. There's no failures yet. So there's progress, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I went a bit mad there. If you think about it, I've been killing them for years, and then I managed to get one with some help to actually survive a repot and progress, and then suddenly went out and bought loads. Well, just because you got one to work, that might have just been a good one. And then you go and get 3 more and they all fail again, and you're back to being the zygo killer. Yeah, I was elected president of that, ceremony and everything, with a big chain, president of the I Kill Zygos Club. Now I've just remembered, I've got a flipping care collab video to do today as well. I'll have to do it, I committed to it, so we'll have to do it. It's going to be a quick one. It's going to be a quick one because it's a non-blooming plant and it's not a very good plant. So it'll be a case of, here it is, it's not very good, but it will be one day. Well, I'll get on with that. I must do it. I did commit to it. But it'll be later today. I'll get this one done and get this posted, because you haven't had one for ages. And then we'll get back to whatever sort of normality I can achieve, given the circumstances. I mean, obviously, once I'm committed to having to get out of here, I've just got so much to sort out. I've got to sort out what I'm taking with me. We'll have to have family meetings and stuff to decide what to do. I mean, my view is that this house is full of junk. My mum was a squirrel. That collector, you know, I'll have that. I haven't got that. And everywhere is just full of junks. Every cupboard is full. You open it and it all comes out on top of you. It's that sort of place. Everywhere you look is full of stuff. And second-hand stuff like that's got no value. So the theory is, I get my stuff out that I want. Any of the family that want any of the stuff or anything like that, they get what they want out of it. And then what's left, you just pay for house clearance and just walk away from it. And they come in and they clear the place right out. So it's down to nothing. Carpets, curtains and lights, and that's it. Everything else is gone, it's bare. And then that's what people are buying, basically. Obviously, for me to get my stuff out, I have to have somewhere to take it to. So I've got to get to that stage before that can happen. But as I said, physically getting out of here is 3 months away, if not more. So the problem is, when somebody dies, if any of you have had to go through all this, you've got the legalities of, you know, who owns what? Well, how do you prove that you own that then? Where are the deeds? You know, 'cause there's no mortgage on this, but so where are the deeds? You know, all these sort of things come into light. How does somebody get access to the bank account? My mum owns shares in various things. You know, all these sort of things have got to be sorted. It's going to take ages, I know it is. And the trouble is, part way through all of this, my mum changed her name. She remarried, and some of the stuff's still in her old name. It's going to get complicated. So, as I said, I got a lot going on, and I'll have things to do out here. There was, you know, stopping videos. I mean, I can do a 5-minute video, 10 minutes on the computer, and you're looking at it. So I can keep the YouTube channel going, and there'll always be time to look after the orchids. Whatever else is going on, I can still carry on looking after these. So we still have an orchid collection, and we still have a YouTube channel. I will have a problem possibly when I move, but bearing in mind I'm going to have somewhere to go prior to this being let go. Hopefully, wherever I'm going, I can get an internet up and running before I lose access to this place and the internet here. But there could potentially be a gap where I've got no internet, you know, in which case, you know, there won't be any videos. Well, I can make the videos, I just can't post them. But possibly I could send a file to somebody else via a cloud system, somebody like Lynn, and get Lynn to post it for me. Who knows? Hopefully we don't have to go down that road, but there could be an internet gap. And the other thing is, it's highly unlikely I'll get the internet I've got here, because I've got a fibre optic cable here direct into the back of the computer, straight from the road. It's the best there is. You know, it is the best there is. I mean, my upload speed is 22, 23. My download speed is 220, 230. Well, if I have to go back to a telephone line type internet, I'm not going to get anything like that. But that doesn't stop me doing everything I do now. It just slows me right down, and everything will take an awful lot longer. I mean, a half an hour full HD video takes me about 45 minutes to load onto YouTube. Prior to getting this internet, that would have taken an hour and a half at least, sometimes longer. So it'll just take more time, but it shouldn't stop me doing anything I do now. I do get ratty when things go slow now. Like, I've got used to what I've got, but you do get pauses sometimes. You do get periods when they're probably doing some maintenance or something and they've dropped your speed down. Come on! Get move on. Anyway, that's it for today. No orchid subject really, it's just a catch-up video to say what's been going on at the weekend and the proposals or outline plans for what's coming. As I said, we have an inevitability about what the immediate future is going to be, and the knock-on effect is pretty dramatic for me. If I was still 30, I'd be revelling in this, but I'm not. I'm 70 plus, and it's going to be a bit fraught. You know, it's going to. Let's put it this way: it'll be a 3 aspirin job rather than 2. But it's got to be done. There is no way round it. It's got to be done. So, we take a deep breath, we shrug our shoulders and say, well, let's get on with it then. So let's get on with it then. I've got a magazine to produce this week, so that's a load of computer work to do. But at least it's, you know, I can do that any time of day. I can be doing that at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, that doesn't have to be daylight or anything. But I've got that to do, and yeah, you know, there's work to do on the computer. So yeah, I'll see you next time. As I said, I've got a care collab to do later today, so you will get another video today, albeit it's going to be short. It's going to be short because I haven't got much to say about the plant, you know. So we'll get that done, and then we'll unwrap these new dendrobiums and everything, and have a good look at those as tomorrow's video. So we'll have that one for tomorrow. So that means I haven't got to think about anything in here until Wednesday. Right, so I'll see you then. Thanks for putting up with the ramblings, because that's all they are really today. And we'll get back to more orchidy focused sort of stuff, you know, as from now on. But thanks for dropping by and your company and everything. So see you again next time. Bye for now.